on, babies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show. This week, we're here to talk about the Celtics. Okay, the Red Sox are on hiatus and for the foreseeable future. So we're here to tell you why the destruction of the Celtics roster was not necessarily because of the salary cap. That's what everyone wants you to think. It wasn't necessarily the case. There are bigger reasons why. I'd like to talk about that, but we're here to tell you why. We've got special guest Robert Haytay-an from the Celtics Weekly podcast to here help us talk about that. But as we always do, let's start with some opening takes. Bobby, if you would, please start us off.
The Boston Celtics did what good organizations do. They got rid of a couple players who weren't performing at a championship level anymore. They moved them on. And as you mentioned before, there was salary cap implications. Now what the Celtics need to do is what great organizations do. Take pit stains like Simmons and Niang and turn them into a great player. Get rid of these guys, package them with their money in the second round picks, and bring in one good player, a very good player. They can play with Tatum and White in this year and maybe get them in the playoffs and hold it down until Tatum gets here and then be part of a new big three. Let's see if Brad can do that. He did half the job's done. Let's see if he can finish it.
Raven?
Thank you there, Richard. Like Bobby said, they got rid of Jrue Holiday, who's an aging 35-year-old on the decline, got rid of the injury-prone Kristaps Porzingis. When's the statue going to be made of Brad Stevens? He's done what no one could think that in the NBA could do. He got rid of these two guys that they thought they'd have to package other players with, and he just got rid of them single-handedly to the Portland Trailblazers and the Atlanta Hawks. TD Garden, make way because the Brad Stevens statue is coming your way.
Yuck. Yuck for both of you. Yuck for both of you homer losers and your boring fucking tags. Boo, boo, boo. I'll take the totem pole here. It's draft season for another Big Four sport, and I'm here to tell you once again for another draft. Boo. Boo fucking drafts and boo fucking drafts on TV. It's the most boring TV program on the planet. Told you this in the NFL draft in April. That was boring as shit for 3 goddamn days watching these idiots in their stupid ill-fitted suits. The NBA trying to be the NFL draft. Keep trying, you fools. 2 days of this shit for 2 rounds. That was the slowest to stay up and watch the Celtics pick some no-name from Spain, some 19-year-old no-name from Spain at 28th pick. I'd rather shove sticks in my eyes than do that again. The show is killing me. Fuck drafts and fuck draft coverage. Just tell me who they pick. You boring Homer Celtics losers. Thank God we have Robbie One on the show today to spice things up. That's where we'll start. The destruction of the Celtics has started. These guys will tell you how great it is to be a Celtics fan now that they've jettisoned 2 of their top 5 players.
I didn't say it was great. I don't even want those players.
We will talk about the NBA draft other than in the Celtics, some of the bigger storylines there. We've got 10 questions from a guy named Rob. We will not be talking about the Red Sox. We will not talk about the Red Sox. But there is another draft coming up, which I'm sure will be stellar. They'll probably top the rest of these. The hockey draft is on Friday. Bruins have the 7th pick. We'll give a little thoughts from Don Sweeney. We got this or that Simple Mind of the week. As always, this is the Simple Mind Sports Show. Friday Rewind, June 27th, live June 26th. Welcome to the show. Apparently, the Celtics are dumb front-running pussies. This is the same team they have been for 4 years running.
Well, my worst nightmare came true. Missoula and Mayo are friends. What the fuck? Apparently, they've known each other since Virginia. They have these docking sessions where they talk about ball and managing people.
I'm on vacation. I'm going to quay all these. I'm going to fucking watch them this week.
Do you say quay?
Is it not quay?
It's Q. It's Q. It's Q-U-E. You idiot. All right, welcome in. We've got Robbie from Celtics Talk Weekly. How's it going, man?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk some Celtics, not the Red Sox. And I'm not talking about the Red Sox.
No, neither are we. We will not talk about the Red Sox.
I'm excited to talk about the Celtics, though.
Yeah, hopefully you've got something a little more spicy than putting Brad Stevens statues up, although Ray probably is right. Half the Celtics nation is looking to erect one, like a Tuesday night at Ray's Mother's. But before we do that, just real quickly, we do have one giveaway from fan favorite, your top apparel brand here in the New England area. We've got lunch atop a dynasty, big banner, all of your greatest New England franchise winners with that famous pic of eating lunch on the big beam. I think it was in New York City, that famous old pic. Anyway, that's for free. Simply all you have to do is go to simbinesports.com, put your email in for the newsletter. We'll give one away of those in the upcoming weeks. So go to simbinesports.com, rate, subscribe, review, tell your friends and tell your mothers. All right, Robbie, the destruction of the Celtics is fully underway. I would say we're in the midst of it. But what I'd love to do is just go through kind of the three biggest moves here. So you've got the draft from last night, which should take about 30 seconds if we can get through that. The Jrue Holiday trade and the Porzingis trade. So let's start with the draft. Let's bury the lead a little bit. Hugo González, 28th overall pick, 19-year-old Spaniard from Real Madrid, averaging 3 minutes over there. 6'6", 205. Brad Stevens seems to love him. Can you tell us anything about this kid that some regular fans might not know?
Yeah, I mean, he's as versatile as they come. Like you said, he's 6'6", he's a wing, he's athletic. Offensively, he's got a lot of work to do, but defensively, he has all the intangibles that you need to be a high-level NBA defender. I will say Brad Stevens, his track record in the draft has not been great and continues to not be great. I am not a fan of the pick of Hugo González, but I will say this: if there is any time to take a risk in the draft, it is now. Next year is kind of, you got nothing to play for almost, right? Obviously, you're always coming in for a championship, but you could take the risk. I do believe it's high reward. He's athletic, high motor guy. Don't love it, but don't hate it.
So we've got a European Jordan Walsh in our hands?
Yes, essentially you do.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Real quickly though, so more than us. We'll keep tabs on this. Who was the guy sitting there at 28 that you would have taken over Hugo?
There were two. The fact that Liam McNeely from UConn fell to 28 was very surprising. He actually went 29 the next pick after to Phoenix, I believe. That might be one of those ones where you look back and you're like, really? Like back in the Giannis draft, we took somebody over Giannis, Jared Sullinger. And so I wanted McNeely, I wanted Cockbrenner out of Creighton. He's the big man. He's still on the board in day 2. So, hopefully they can scoop him up there.
Wasn't the big thing about Hugo was that he plays with like 10 NBA players pretty much, and that's why he didn't get any playing time. So basically,
allow me. I have the quote from Mr. Stevens right here, if you would. Check out the guy he compared Hugo to. Brad Stevens went on to say, when you're in that age, in that situation, you've got to earn your stripes. When we went to take a look at our team years ago in preseason, we played against a 16-year-old Luka Doncic that hardly got in. So Hugo's a little bit older, and I'm not comparing him to Doncic. But I will say it's great when you get to play on those teams. So what you're saying, Robbie, is Hugo is not Luka Doncic?
Yeah, so you could say that, right? Hugo might not be Luka Doncic. No.
Nah. All right. Fuck, missed that one. Okay. Well, we'll wait and see 4 or 5 years from now whether Mr. González can play or not and contribute. Looks like they're shipping him over here. They're not, keeping him in the EuroLeague to stash. Sounds like they're gonna put him on the roster, which may have something to do with the money situation, which we'll get to here. So give me your opinion on the Jrue Holiday trade. These guys you can't see below, but they are fully erect for this. Anthony Simons coming back for Jrue Holiday with a couple future second-round picks. Obviously, the money's a big deal. They clear $72 million of future contracts, $40 million in tax savings approximately. Anthony Simons, a good young player, good offensive young player. I will just say, I agree on paper. Good deal for Brad.
Right.
You got 10 years younger. Right. You saved money. I'll just give you my opinion real quick and ask yours, Robbie. They got to move Simons. I like the player, but he doesn't fit right now on this team. They're too loaded in the guard position. They need other help, especially with Tatum not there. And he costs too much money if they want to add some more players to this team. He seems like an easy guy that you can, well, not easy, but it seems like a guy that you can move on from now and get something back. What's your opinion on the trade and Simons as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll join you guys. I'm a wreck too about this trade because quite frankly, the fact that
four boners, nice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The fact that you could get a player like Simons, he just turned 26, averaging 20 points per game, an offensive real juggernaut in the league. When you look at all the advanced metrics, this guy stacks up with just about the best of them in terms of scoring the basketball. You could flip that for Jrue Holiday, who is clearly on the decline, and you're the one to get draft capital. I mean, it was Brad Stevens' masterclass yet again. I will say this: the thing that's so appealing to me about Anthony Simons is that expiring contract, and he's extension eligible. That makes him the most movable asset the Celtics have right now. This is a guy that they can roll into the season playing and on the roster and showcase, right? This is a guy that they can put in the starting lineup, have him go for 22, 23 points per night. And at the deadline, offer him an extension, have him sign that extension, and then you can flip him somewhere for something a little bit more juicy. So I do believe the Anthony Simons could have long-term implications for Boston. I do believe there could be a role here. I think him and Peyton Pritchard are a little eerily similar for my liking. But, there could be a role here. Worst case, you're flipping this guy for a key contributor like a forward or a wing or a big man in that center spot, which Boston desperately needs right now. But, I mean, I'm joining you guys. I'm erect all around for that trade. No doubt about it.
Isn't his biggest red flag, though, real quick, is his defense?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. But, I mean, that's who Joe Mazzulla is, right? I mean, he's a guy that offensively, he wants you to be able to play freely and create with the ball. Defensively, we'll see. I mean, we've seen the Celtics system bring on some bad defenders and they magically make it work. So you never know.
No.
I don't like glossing over the bad defense and then asking Joe Mazzulla to fix it. I'll let Bobby speak on that a little bit. But the things that I do like to hear is we may have been just started listening to you, Robbie. No offense, just got clued on to you guys, and we'll catch you weekly here on Celtics Talk Weekly. Go subscribe to that, people, on YouTube. But we've been on the Jrue Holiday kind of stinks train, except for the 2 months last year in the playoffs.
Right.
Pretty much since he got here. Like, it's like, all right, he made his money in the championship run for sure, as advertised. But anybody that's complaining about losing that winning quotient now that he's gone, where was that in the Knicks series? They needed that in spades in the Knicks series, and he was nowhere. And, a lot of that I'm sure has to do with age, and he dealt with the injury this year. But, Bobby, to move that contract in itself was pretty impressive. And to get Simons back, is your confidence level that Joe Mazzulla can turn him into a regular defensive stalwart as high as Robbie's?
Oh God, no! Mazzulla's a complete boob. He is the perfect. Like if you were to put a Mazzulla player in a box, you would probably come up with this guy. Like all he does is jack threes, and like you had mentioned before, he's an analytics darling. But it doesn't. I'm not sure he understands how to play basketball. Like he kind of plays it like I would want to play. Just play for fun, jack some threes, run around. He's perfect. Which is why I am with you. We got to move this guy immediately. The only upside that I could possibly see with this guy, he was playing in Portland. You're in that sort of a market. You're on a losing team. You're just going to get yours. Maybe you get him in Boston. Maybe he tightens it up, and maybe he's a different player, and maybe he sees that he can win some games and just change his whole facade. Maybe that's what when you're talking about bringing him in and then moving him during the season. Or if not, I'm all about packaging and moving and getting in one better player for this, because they're going to have a bunch of smaller pieces here to be able to fill it out. And it isn't really all about this next season. It's really about moving forward.
Yeah, I just don't know where, you got Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. It's kind of your core right now. And then Simons into that has a lot of replication and offense and not a lot of size. So, I think we're in the middle of what Stevens in the offseason plan is, including the Porzingis trade, Robbie, which was just a proper NBA dump. Second round pick to the Hawks in a 3-team trade with the Nets. The best part about this is, frankly, don't take offense, Porzingis is gone. Okay. Again, another guy that when was on the court and was a total game changer for the Celtics, but they didn't need him to win that championship. And when they needed him this year, he couldn't come through. His injury history was too much for me to get over, especially for $30 million. And then obviously that's the big move, right? Clearing that money. And then unfortunately you got to take Georges Niang back But that's the cost of doing business, I guess.
It is. I was out on Porzingis the second I saw him suit up in the Orlando series this playoffs. I mean, he stunk it up. He was awful. He was essentially a negative out there. I would have rather seen more Luke Cornett than Kristaps Porzingis. That's how bad he was. I agree. Porzingis was phenomenal when he was out there. He had this weird 3-week stretch towards the end of the regular season where he was averaging like 25 per game, and you were thinking to yourself, like, okay, here we go. Porzingis missed 49% of his games in the Celtics uniform. I mean, you're paying this guy $30 million. And the thing that set me off was this playoff. This was supposed to be like, it was clear Brown wasn't 100%, right? That meniscus tear was really clearly holding him back. Porzingis was supposed to be that asset that made this Celtics team unbeatable, right? You don't have Brown, you don't have Tatum for a night. Well, guess what? We got this 7'3" unicorn who can come in, he can shoot from 30 feet out. And he was god awful. And quite frankly, if there's, you got to move Niang now. I don't want Niang to touch the court. He's pudgy. You just don't want to see him out there. But I mean,
Lawrence is own though.
yeah. No, I know Boston. I mean, but again, I mean, Porzingis in his injury, you knew you came into this offseason kind of knowing, listen, you're going to lose. This is going to be a loss trading this guy. But in my eyes, it might be a plus getting rid of him. As much as a fan favorite he was, I loved the guy. He was fun. He was electric, right? You showed up to the games and you felt KP being there. But I mean, from a basketball standpoint, it was pretty bad.
It felt like they were going to have to attach a future first to him to get him off the deal. So again, golf clap for Brad. I guess, if you want to, here's the question. Would you rather give up a future first a couple years from now or take George Yang on your roster? It's a toss up. It's a toss up. What do you think the people of Latvia think, the Eastern Bloc people of Latvia think of Porzingis constantly going down with like soft tissue injuries, and he was sick? He had an illness this year, so he looked like shit. I don't know. It's like they're supposed to be the pride of Latvia, and the guy can't stay on the court. Eastern Bloc. I'm just saying. Someone's taking a straw poll out there. We knew this was coming, right? Brad Stevens said it himself. We knew it was coming. Not a huge surprise that they were moving on from this. I hear a lot of conversation about the motivation. We've got the new ownership, $7 billion deal when it's all said and done, probably more. The second apron, actually, after I'm done here, Ray, let's listen to Brad Stevens on the second apron and the restrictions that come with that financially and both, from a front office standpoint. I guess after we hear this clip from Brad, I'd like to get your thought, Robbie, on kind of the motivations of where they're at. Is it a financial thing? Is it a team thing? Or is it or the penalties really as bad as Stevens thinks they are?
Our owners, old and new, are committed to spending. There's a lot of things that go into these moves and a lot of things that are really important. And listen, again, it goes back to prioritizing our flexibility. And, I think the second apron basketball penalties are real. And I'm not sure I understood how real until they were staring me in the face in the last month. So I do think that there's, I think that can't be overstated.
First of all, we can't give Brad Stevens a statue if he doesn't understand the restrictions of the second apron until they slap him in the face. You can't have it both ways here, gentlemen. All right. So either he's full of shit right there, and he's covering up because this is financial move, or he got blindsided by this.
Which one would make you let him have the statue?
Whatever gets Niang off the team.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, pretty much. Perfect.
What are the motivations here, Robbie, or all the above? Where do you think they're coming from? I guess the bigger question for me is, what's the financial influence of the ownership right now? Are they closer to Wick, or are they closer to private equity? We're making this a business.
It's too early to tell. That's the thing. If Jason Tatum was healthy and 100% and ready to go next season, you would kind of get a tell this offseason with what direction they would go. But the truth is that when you're all NBA first team guy, when you're $60 million guy isn't going to be able to suit up probably for the entirety of the next season, right? If you were to guess, things are going to need to look different. And Brad's right. The second apron is basketball hell for GMs. You are so handicapped on what you can do. And the truth is that to back Brad Stevens here, when you're winning 64 games and running through the Eastern Conference and winning the championship, that second apron's you'll pay it, right? You'll pay it. Those handicaps aren't existent. You don't have to touch the roster. They didn't make a move last offseason. They did not. They added Lonnie Walker, who later got cut, but they brought the same team back with the additions of Baylor Shireman. Like, it was the exact same team. That second apron wasn't even realized. I think what Brad now had realized, and I think he wanted to make more moves at the deadline, but he couldn't because of how handicapped he was. You can't make 2-for-1s. You can't match it is.
Can you, not to put you on the spot, Robbie, can you outline a little bit of like some of the bigger restrictions that would be faced when you're in that second apron?
100%. So sign and trades, right? If you're in the second apron, you can't do sign and trades. 2-for-1s, right? Which is crucial when you're making, the Kristaps Porzingis deal is a prime example of what a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 can get you. You can't do that. You can't do the 3-for-2. Those two, in my book, when you talk about roster construction, Brad Stevens is bread and butter is sign and trades in 2 and 3-for-2s and 2-for-1s. Like, that is his shit, right? And when you can't do that, you're handicapped. And when you don't have Jason Tatum and you're in that second apron, you need to get the hell out of that second apron. Otherwise, your team is going to be in the dumps for a long time.
Yeah, Bobby, I see you're shaking your head there. And honestly, new ownership, Tatum injury or not, I think Porzingis and Holiday were on Brad's cut list no matter what. For the reasons that we talked about: age, production, future, all the above. I think that especially losing in the second round to the Knicks, which was happening whether Tatum blew his Achilles or not, people don't want to hear that, but they were losing that game. They were losing game 4. Okay. So I think that was coming or not. I did hear there was, I don't know if they said it or it was reported that if Tatum was not hurt, they would have ran it back. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either.
Yeah, neither do I.
They already failed, and we've said this before on the show, Robbie. We couldn't come up with an example of a championship team that literally brought everyone back, did not switch up the chemistry at all, and went back to back. It's hard enough to do in the NBA. You get 7 straight different champions. To just run any championship team back never works. There's not enough motivation in there. There's not enough different energy. So, and maybe that was a second apron thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe they didn't have the flexibility to do that. But anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, Bobby. I saw you shaking your head when Robbie was talking there. You want to add a little bit?
Yeah, it was just to the point about the flexibility. I think it's primarily about that, especially if you're a guy like Brad Stevens, who's shown that he can make deals. Once he was going into the offseason and sees truly what he can and can't do, it was a non-negotiable that he wasn't going to be able to be there, and that he wanted to be able to have the flexibility to make these moves and move on and have different additions to be able to be competitive moving forward.
All right, I got 2 more points. The biggest concern moving into next season for you, Robbie, is it, and maybe this isn't a concern, maybe it's a philosophy question. Where are they pivoting to? This goes to ownership too. Are they going to going to try and get under the tax and avoid that repeater for next year and quote unquote tank, but not tank, kind of passively tank by not, maybe you move Simons and you don't replace him with talent and you just ask Jaylen Brown and Derek White to go out there and drop 50 a night, or are they going to try and bring some talent in for when Tatum's ready to go? Where is your feeling on that? What are they looking to do next year? And then in conjunction, the bigger concern for this show, and I think for a lot of people, can they change the way they play, and will they stop shooting more threes than twos? And we heard Stevens talk about that in his press conference last night, that seems like he wants to play a little bit more like the Pacers and the Thunder did in the championship there. But what's your thought on that next season and where they're looking to go?
So I think where they're looking to go in Brad's direction is to acquire as many assets as they can to put together a championship team for 2026-27 and 27-28. I think that is their window. However, I hate to break it to you guys and to any Celtics fans watching or listening. Next year is going to be really weird. It's going to be really weird and awkward, and it could be complete hell. But there's a possibility it's like kind of nice, and they're like a weird, below, like right under 50, just over 50 win. Like, you don't know what it's going to look like in terms of success.
We should bring back the King of the Fourth and let him jock for the season. That would
Hell
be
yes.
Like,
bring him back, baby.
Oh yeah.
You have seen some crazy things in the past, like, those 2015 Celtics, like how the hell did they pull out a 4 seed? And it was just, you've seen some crazy shit with the Celtics. So I think that's where Brad's going. And then my biggest concern, quite frankly, I'm with you guys. Joe Mazzulla is my big concern here for the Boston Celtics.
You're goddamn right. Yes.
Because so for any validation you guys need, I'm right there with you. Joe Mazzulla.
What?
Yeah, no, I mean, Joe Mazzulla. Here's the thing, and I think it's going to show. And Tatum covers up all of this team's real, just ugly features they have. And I think the ugliest feature of this bunch is Joe, because it's, I like to consider myself the biggest basketball guy you'll meet, like one of them, right? I love the game. I love the X's and O's and all the actions and everything, like finite details. You watch what the Celtics do, and Joe Mazzulla's philosophy is predicated around the talent that exists within the core, right? His philosophy is get the ball to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, let them create space, kick out 3. That's not a system. That's not an offense. And when you got guys like Georges Niang out there and Xavier Tillman, it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly really, really quick. So I think that's going to be a reality check for Joe Mazzulla. I'm hoping and praying that the guy can figure it out, because I'm not going to root against him. But it could get ugly. Biggest concern is Joe Mazzulla. I believe he is that bad. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I believe he truly is that bad.
Real quick. Isn't
great.
the biggest thing that Sam Cassell took that Georgia Tech job too, and he won't be on the sideline for the Celtics this year? Like, I think he was helping out.
Doesn't help. It doesn't
That
help.
doesn't help at all. I mean,
No,
he was helping out Joe Mazzulla, I think, more than we think. And
100%. I mean, Joe is the thing with Joe, and I hate to ramble about Joe, but I'm gonna spare. I'll just go 30
best
seconds.
spot for it. Yeah.
It appeared against Orlando is when I was like, okay, it was a high pick and roll action every single time down the floor. And it happened against New York, but Orlando and New York were playing it to a T beautifully. They had watched all this all season. They had 2 years of Celtics game footage. They knew what the hell Boston wanted to run. And it was every time down the floor, it was a high pick and roll. No creativity, nothing. He did not adapt. It was terrible. And to me, that's when I was like, all right, like, it was that bad. And then just on top of that, to blow games 1 and 2, like Joe Mazzulla did to the New York Knicks, that in itself is fireable. I don't care about the championship. It was that ugly. It was that bad. Expectations were that high. This team is that good, or was that good. Joe dropped the ball. Biggest concern for the 25-26 season is no doubt Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah. We're right there with you. That's refreshing to hear somebody talk that way, and with less fucks and shitheads than we generally put it.
Yeah, we do a lot of name calling.
And we're saying, sum it up. That's the easy version. I'm pretty much saying the same thing.
Look, Jaylen Brown has had nights, right, where he's gone out and without Tatum and put up nights, and they've won. And for anybody to expect that to be a consistency is crazy. Like, and I love Jaylen Brown. I've poo-pooed any trade talk this offseason about Jaylen Brown. He's a top 15-ish player in the game. You're not going to replicate that with anything, unless it's Giannis. You want to go straight up with Giannis? Sure, let's talk. Other than that, like, no. However, when he's not next to Jason Tatum, he might not be a top 15 player in the league, and Derek White is not Derek White. So you're right. I'm not going to say might. It's going to get ugly this year. And you have to lean on Brad Stevens putting these chess pieces in place for when Tatum comes in and plop him right in the middle of it. Everybody gets to drop down a peg or two and get into a natural position. And hopefully Joe Mazzulla's learned how to teach and coach regular basketball by that point. And it doesn't go back to just Jason Tatum slowly dribbling the ball up for 22 seconds and hucking it up or whatever. So we're with you there. I guess I don't know if you listened to the press conference with Brad Stevens, but he did offhandedly mention that Mazzulla is tied up for multiple years.
Yeah.
Is that Is that confirmed? Is
Makes like
that
$2 million a
reported?
year. That's got to be easy to get rid of.
So, this is my thing with Joe. Brad's a coach, right? He's one of the better coaches Boston has had. I mean, it's unfortunate he never got the job done, but Brad was a phenomenal coach. I refuse to believe he doesn't see it. And there is this culture within the Boston sports community with Joe Mazzulla to kind of nurture and to coddle him. And, he got thrown into this position and, Ime was this and he came in and he first was like, he's done a lot of winning. And it's like, Joe Mazzulla's had a lot of great teams. So in terms of the future of Joe, they can get off that contract. You don't have to worry about that. If my prediction here is that this gets so ugly to start the season off that they got to do something. And I think Joe's on the chopping block.
Thank God.
That's my prediction. We'll see what the roster looks like. But in terms of getting off, you can get off that contract.
Give me a
if you got out of Ime, you'll get out of
Give me a
Joe.
percent. We're gonna let you go here. Give me a percent, not 69. That Brad ever comes down from ever pulls a Pat Riley and grabs the clipboard at some point this season. Future Boston Celtics. We never see it anymore in professional sports, but it would be kind of cool. What's your percentage that it gets so bad because they've lost Courtney Lee, who was the guy that went to Charlotte, the assistant coach,
Charles Lee.
Thank you. Courtney Lee was the player. And then they lost Cassell. I don't even know who's on their bench anymore. So for coaches, who would be next up? Steven seems like a natural fit, and he's going. If they get off to a bad start and Mazzulla's the reason, you're gonna get to bring Brad Stevens down to the bench kind of conversation, and he shut that down every time he's been asked about it. But just give me a percentage. Give us a percentage. What do you think?
I'm gonna go like 3.5. Damn. I think he enjoys being the mastermind behind the G. He's too good at it to leave, and I think he enjoys it too much.
Ray, 6.9.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's what I was going.
That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate it, Rob. This was fun, man. Thanks for bringing some sane thought of basketball talk into the program here. Real quick, tell us where we can catch you, when we can catch you on the interwebs.
Yeah, absolutely. Celtics Talk Weekly on Instagram and on YouTube. We're live after every Celtics game. We have two podcasts weekly, Celtics Talk Weekly and Celtics Nation Rise. Those are Wednesday and twice a week, Celtics Nation Rise, usually Tuesday, Thursday. Again, guys, thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast talking C's with you guys, and hopefully we'll catch up and do another one in the future.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. Anybody not following, watch them, catch them. They know what they're talking about. We generally just kind of shit can on people afterwards. They actually know what they're talking about.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Robert. Catch you soon, man.
Yes.
So there you go. We've got.
So we're not crazy.
We've got a Missoula. I think we've been saying the whole time, and everybody knows it. They're just, they won and they were good, so everyone's been kind of talking around it.
Yeah. Good thing about us, though, we're a pretty good judge of character. We've called a few people out and been right before.
Yeah. And Robbie's good people. We like Robbie.
We do.
Immediately.
I get it.
There are some people that came on the show that immediately, no, Flat Earth Dave, fuck that guy.
Yep.
I enjoyed him. I was really high when I was talking to him, so I was enlightened.
That was an awesome podcast.
Speaking of assholes, let's throw it over to headlines with the obvious one.
Thank you there, Richard. The Boston Celtics drafted Hugo González at number 28. Celtics nabbed the 19-year-old Real Madrid forward, whom analysts are calling one of the steals of the draft. Brad Stevens emphasizes the team's long-term vision amid significant roster changes. Mood somber in the locker room despite optimism about the trades. Reports suggest the organization feels somber after losing key contributors Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis from last season's championship squad. Yeah, Boston Red Sox slumping hard. The Red Sox are 40-41 now at the season's midpoint, sitting below 500 with a 9-19 record in one-run games, and MLB leading 69 nice errors. Nice. Moving on to the Bruins, they picked number 7 overall on Friday. General Manager Don Sweeney has hinted at possible trades involving their first-round pick, though selecting someone remains likely. And they also unveiled new uniforms. The Bruins introduced a new redesigned look for 2025-2026, described as a new chapter, blending nostalgia and fresh design.
I just woke up. Are you still talking?
Yep, and moving on to the Patriots, Drake May's big life update. Quarterback Drake May tied the knot over the weekend to his longtime girlfriend. No clue what her name is, but she must be nice. This has been headlines with the obvious one.
It's Mrs. May, you dumbass.
Just like your mother's name is Mrs. Langevin.
Oh, no.
Right after this.
That was terrible, Raymond. The headlines were good. The joke was bad. All right, just real quickly, and then we'll get to 10 questions with a guy named Rob. Just touching this NBA draft. We kept Robbie a little too long. I would have got his opinion on it. Also, Robbie, too. How do you feel about the nickname?
Deuce. His name's Deuce.
Robbie,
Deuce.
It's the worst of all the derivatives of the name Robert is Robbie.
What do you
Really?
feel like?
I thought Cunt was the worst name you could be called because of Robert.
It's not a specific.
No, that's
well-known
more,
nickname.
that's more towards his personality, not his actual name.
Well, that doesn't bother me because it's true. That's
Yeah. It's accurate, so you can accept it.
I'm not gonna.
What
That's
is
not
it
gonna
like
bother me.
going through life as an adult with a child's name, though? Do you ever get looks? Where
At this point, it's fine. I'm over it, and I don't. At this point, I don't introduce myself as Bobby anymore. You two just know me that as a child. When I
Wait,
meet
how do you
somebody new,
introduce
I
yourself?
tell them that's my. I don't introduce
What's
myself.
your introduction name, Chief?
Rob.
Rob. You're a Rob. Your adult name. Your name is Rob.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Wow.
I don't like it one bit.
Anybody that I haven't known since I was a child, yeah.
I don't
Really?
like it.
I don't like it one bit.
I don't like it one bit.
No. Sounds weird, bro.
I'm going with Robbie
You
too.
see, like first you shit on the name, and now you're defensive of it.
Yeah. Robbie 2 or cunt in my book. That's as far as I'm going to go.
They're fine. Whatever.
Damn it. That's why he wasn't. He hasn't been irked for 2 years when we've been calling him Rob on the text chain. Like, yeah, it's my fucking name.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
I go
blame
by a
you
lot of
though,
names.
to go as a 40-year-old into in a situation. Hey, I'm Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, how are you?
I'm Bobby.
Nice to meet
Bobby
you.
Valentine. Oh.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
would be like Joey?
Unless you're
Like
the
if someone says
manager of a
Joey?
major league baseball team, you can't be named Bobby as an adult.
Very true.
Yeah.
Difficult
Rob's
move.
not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think I have met a Rob that I like.
Nope, they're good. Still undefeated.
Ofer. Speaking of Ofer, Nico Harrison has not screwed up the draft yet. They did take Cooper Flagg first overall to the Mavs. However, in an entire stadium full watch party, they were chanting "Fire Nico" directly in the guy's face, which I found very, very funny. But sneaky, the Mavs on paper should be very good. However, when you combine the fact that Kyrie Irving will not be back because of injury and Anthony Davis is just constantly injured, they're going to stink. Everybody in the world has the prediction that the first chance Cooper Flagg has to get to free agency is coming to the Celtics because he loves them so much, and Jason Tatum is his fever dream. So 5 years, Celtics fans.
And he's gonna be a top 10 player by then, so perfect.
Probably not. Not if our bet is has anything to do with it. A couple of their notes here from the draft. Ace Bailey, drafted 5th overall from the Jazz. Was seen. No, the other kid that was drafted by Toronto, I think, said "fuck." Ace Bailey.
He did. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But this was a draft of young.
He tried to make it. He tried to like pretty much blow up his own spot so he didn't get drafted. He wanted to go to
You're
Washington.
telling teams not to pick him.
Yeah, he wanted to go to Washington.
Ace Bailey did not want to get drafted by the Jazz and go play in Salt Lake City. Frankly, I don't really blame him. And Danny Ainge went, "Fuck you, kid. You're going to do what I say you're going to do." But this whole thing, this whole entitlement idea, idealism from these young kids, it's only going to get worse. They're making Cooper Flagg made something like $30 million as a freshman at Duke.
Yeah.
So it's only going to get worse. These guys are just going to.
Why did he leave?
I don't know. I had good pay. Couple trades. Suns traded for Mark Williams, center from the Hornets. It took a future first-round pick and this year's pick. This is something the Celtics should have been in on.
Well, the Celtics did make a trade today. Just so you know, they traded their 32nd pick to Orlando for the 46th, 57th, and a second rounder the next 2 years.
Bumping up those assets.
Yeah.
Flexibility.
They did. They made that announcement while we were talking to Robbie, but I didn't want to interrupt.
I mean, that's a Belichick playing with your food kind of trade. Like, I mean, I guess second round picks are trade fodder in today's NBA, but I don't know. All right, whatever. I will give Brad Stevens the benefit of the doubt, seeing as he's getting a statue, and he's done very well.
He knows what he's doing.
I would imagine that a lot of those are going to go into future moves. Anyway, on this Mark Williams guy, an expiring contract, $6 million. It cost you a future first round pick, 15 points, 10 rebounds. He's 23 years old, 7 foot tall, 240-pound guy, good skill. That seems like a guy you could invest in. They've been tied to him in the past. I would have liked to see a deal like that, a little aggressive.
He kind of looks like a sped, so nah.
Haven't heard that workaround in a while. Pelicans made a draft trade that people were not big on. I don't really give a shit about. If you want to talk about that, Pelicans suck. Nothing's going to work out there. This is the big one. This is the big one for me, quite literally and figuratively, was when Hassan Yang, the 7'2" Chinese Jokic, was drafted 16th overall by the Portland Trailblazers, and he was sitting in the stands because he was supposed to be a mid-second round pick. So he's up in the stands in this white fucking like BG suit. He comes tromping, 7-foot Chinese ass comes tromping down through the stands. Like, I am happy for the kid. I hope he's awesome. And then you also just go Trailblazers. Holy shit, man! Like
they said that was like the
we
biggest.
have Yang and Holiday now. We will win the title.
Yeah,
they say it's the biggest bust in NBA history. Like this is like Darko Milicic like type of pick right here.
Imagine like there are so many. We know this people that are terrible at their jobs in corporate America. They just mail it in. Like this happens all the time.
Very good.
In sports, I think like someone that did not deserve to get there, literally probably is drunk and like, watch this. You don't think I will? It's like texting with his buddies. Like, you don't think I'll do it? Fucking watch this.
You don't think I'll draft Yang? You're a pussy. I'll draft him. No, I'll
draft him.
Pussy.
Oh, you don't think I'll trade Simon for a busted Jrue Holiday? Check this out.
I'll do it.
Watch this. Hold my beer.
Yeah. People respect balls. Nico Harrison, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So there you go. The other NBA news, other than the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the championship, if you want to touch on that in Game 7 where Tyrese Halliburton went down. Durant traded yet again, this time to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a number 10 overall pick. Via our text chain, I think we were all boo. That's bad move. Durant, just stop with this guy.
He's going to retire Rocket. He wants to retire as Rocket.
I'm sure he will, but not with a championship in Houston.
No.
I like Jalen Green. I think he's a really good young player.
Dylan Brooks is like a Brad Marchand. If he's not on your team, you hate him. But if he's on your team, he's probably like one of the most lovable guys because he's like that antagonist, that just asshole that will just go after your best player on the other team.
The Suns are now a better team.
On paper, you would think.
Suns are definitely a better team now.
On paper, but the Suns are going to screw it up. On paper, you would think the Rockets would be a better team. You got a young team that broke into the playoffs, lost on inexperience, more or less. So you bring in a Hall of Famer, you should elevate that. But the track record for Kevin Durant parachuting into situations like that is terrible. Like,
he's a cancer.
I don't know if it's a cancer. I just don't think he cares enough.
He
doesn't
can't be the one.
He doesn't care about winning enough. Like
he can't be the 1A though. He can't be the guy, and that's what he is right now. He's going to be the guy.
He does not have that top dog personality. He does not have that.
Maybe Udoka dicks him down, and they avoid his.
I hope so. I hope he puts his hog right in his head.
Yeah, I get that. That plays. There you go. Okay, without a break, let's just throw it over to... actually, let's do a quick break because I need a drink.